In the present video, in a series of videos on current electricity, we will be studying about Kirchhoff's law and the Wheatstone bridge. There are two laws, Kirchhoff's laws. We make use of these laws in complex or complicated circuits where a large number of branches are involved in the circuit and Ohm's law fails to give us the desired results. There are two laws given by Kirchhoff. One is the current law or KCL, Kirchhoff's current law. We also call it junction rule, or we also call it Kirchhoff's first law of electricity. According to the law, the algebraic sum of electric currents at a junction in any electrical network is always 0. Means you have to apply to a particular junction in an electric circuit at the currents meeting at the junction, the sum comes out to be 0. We will illustrate it with an example, but before that, sign conventions which we use. The current coming towards the junction is taken as positive. The incoming currents are taken as positive, and the outgoing currents, that is the currents leaving a junction, are taken as negative. The law is based on the principle of conservation of charge. In an electric circuit, we have no accumulation of charge and no source of charge. Hence, we get this principle of conservation of charge. In order to illustrate Kirchhoff's current law, let us take this circuit diagram. We have a junction O on in the circuit. There we have 5 conductors meeting. This is current I1 coming towards the junction. We will take it as positive according to our sign convention. I2 leaving the junction, I3 leaving the junction, these will be taken as negative. I4 is incoming or coming towards the junction O, so we take it as positive. I5 is leaving the junction and is to be taken as negative. By applying the law, the algebraic sum, that is with proper sign, I1 incoming positive, I2 outgoing negative, I3 negative, I4 positive and I5 negative. I1 plus I2 minus I3 plus I4 minus I5 equal to 0. This is an important information, so it is repeated. This law, the Kirchhoff's current law, is based on principle of conservation of electric charge. At this junction, we do not have any sink or source of charge. Therefore, according to the principle of conservation of charge, whatever charge comes in 1 second, that is the total current coming towards O in 1 second, will be equal to the total current leaving O in 1 second. Second law given by Kirchhoff is also called loop rule or the voltage law. As the name suggests, we will be applying it to closed loops only. It states that the algebraic sum of all the potential drops and EMFs along any closed path or any closed loop in an electric network is always 0. This law is based on principle of energy conservation, as we will illustrate. For this law, again we have a number of sign conventions. The rise in potential is taken as positive and fall of potential is taken as negative. What does it imply? We divide the loop into a number of parts where we take the potential difference or EMFs across the resistances and cells, as the case may be, add up various potential differences and EMFs encountered in the loop. The total algebraic sum will come out to be 0. Sign conventions are the EMF of a cell as we move along the closed loop. The EMF of a cell is taken as negative when we traverse from positive to negative terminal of a cell. Why negative? Because we are going from positive to negative, there is a drop and the drop of potential is taken as negative. So, The next sign convention you can, as you can judge, will be the EMF will be taken as positive if you move from negative to positive terminal of the cell, because negative to positive means there will be a rise in potential. This you can read here. The EMF of a cell is taken positive when we traverse from negative to positive terminal of a cell in a closed loop. This is so because there is a rise in potential. Third sign convention, the potential difference decreases as we move along the direction of current, because we know current flows from higher potential to lower potential. So, there is a drop of potential. The potential drop IR is taken as negative. Similarly, if you are moving against the current, there is a rise in potential which we record as positive. Let's consider this circuit in order to illustrate Kirchhoff's voltage law. In loop A, B, C, D, A, remember the starting point should also be the ending point of the loop. You can take loop in this direction or this direction, anti-clockwise or clockwise. We are taking it along anti-clockwise in this case. A, B, C, D, A. We have E2. Let's start from here. E2, we come across the cell and we are moving from positive to negative terminal, higher potential to lower potential. So, there is a potential drop, decrease in potential, which we take as negative, and this potential drop is E2. So, we write minus E2. Here we are moving along the direction of current. The current is in this direction, so along the current, higher potential, lower potential. Again, there is a fall in potential which we take as negative. So, minus IR2. Now, here again we are moving along the direction of current, minus IR1. Here we are moving from negative to positive terminal, means rise in potential, we will take it as positive. Please keep one thing in mind here, there is a problem with my system. So, this 2 is supposed to be subscript, it should be E2. Similarly, here it should be IR2, the second resistance, and IR1 as you can see from the diagram. There is a problem with the system, please bear with me. So, this equation reads minus E2 minus IR2 minus IR1 plus 2 equal to 0. Another example to illustrate the law. Example 2, applying Kirchhoff's voltage law to loop A, B, C, F, A. A, B, C, F, A. So, this is the direction of current marked along the current, negative. Taking another example from Kirchhoff's law, let us take this circuit diagram. Applying KVL, Kirchhoff's voltage law to loop A, B, C, F, A, A, B, C, F, A to the closed loop, we get minus 20 I1, because you can see the direction of current is from A to B, that is there will be a fall of potential, minus 20 I1 plus 40, because there is a rise in potential moving from negative to positive. So, plus 40. Here we are going along the current, so minus 40 I3. In this branch the current is taken as I3 equal to 0. In loop C, D, E, F, C, C, D, E, F, C. Now, from C, D, here we do not have any resistance, so no potential drop. Here again we are moving against the current, so plus 20 I2, plus 20 I2 minus 80, because we are moving from negative to positive. Here minus 40 I3, minus 40 plus 40, sorry, we are against the current, lower potential to higher potential, rise of potential, plus 40 I3 minus 40, because this is from positive to negative of the cell, therefore a fall in potential equal to 0. So, we have two equations, two loops. You can also take this loop A, B, D, E, A, or you can traverse in opposite direction. The only thing to be remembered is it should be a closed loop. Now, we also apply junction law at F. At F, three currents are meeting, I1, I2, I3. I1 is outgoing, I2 is outgoing, and I3 is incoming, positive, negative, negative. I3 minus I2 minus I1 equal to 0. Remember, a loop can be traversed in any direction, clockwise or anti-clockwise. You will get consistent results. There is no condition. The only condition is the law is to be applied to a closed loop. Wheatstone bridge is a very important application of Kirchhoff's laws, and it is an instrument which finds wide practical applications in the field of electricity. A Wheatstone bridge basically is a combination of four resistances P, Q, R and S connected as shown here. We have P, Q, R, S, a galvanometer, a key and a source of current. There are two keys, K2 with the galvanometer circuit and K1 in the main circuit. It is used to determine either of the four resistance. We have four P, Q, R and S. Any one of the four can be unknown. If other three are known, we can find the value of the unknown resistance. Why it's important? Because it's convenient to use Wheatstone bridge and it gives accurate results. Let's probe further. The circuit is repeated here. Let's apply the laws. Here we take the current as I. First let me explain the circuit diagram. Here we take the current I, which is divided into two parts, I1 in this branch and remaining I minus I1 in this branch. Now, this current I1 is again divided into two parts at B, Ig through the galvanometer and remaining I2 minus I1 minus Ig through the resistance Q. Now, here again we have 1, 2 and 3 currents meeting at D. So, again these current combine, you get I minus I1 from this branch and Ig from this branch. So, this is the currents are depicted in different diagrams. We have arrived at these values by using junction rule. You can carefully look at the diagram and write the junction rules. Now, applying voltage law in loop ABDA, ABDA, AB along the current, so negative minus I1P, current is I1 and potential difference is P. Here the current is Ig and we denote galvanometer resistance by capital G. So, again a negative sign here because we are along the current, minus IgG plus I minus IR, I minus I1 into R. In this branch we are going against the current. The current is I minus I1 and the resistances are, this comes out to be 0. Applying loop rule in BCDB, we get minus I minus I1 Q because we are along the current. Here again we are along the, here we are opposite to the current, so we attach a positive sign, and here we are again opposite to the current. Current is here downwards, so we get plus IgG. So, these are the two equations. We adjust the values of P, Q, R and S resistances. One of them is one of the four is unknown. So, we adjust other three resistances so that there is no current flowing in the galvanometer. Remember, in this will happen if the bridge is balanced, that is if the potential at B is equal to potential at D, no current flows here. So, this branch is almost out of circuit, you can ignore this branch. So, what we get here is put Ig equal to 0, equations 1 and 2 change to this I1 P equal to I minus I1 R, we write it as equation number 3, and I1 Q equal to I minus I1 S, equation number 4, divide the two. the currents cancel, you get P over Q equal to R over S. So, this is the condition for balance in the Wheatstone bridge. You can see the diagram, P over Q equal to R over S. That is, the ratio of resistance in the arms is equal, or you can cross multiply, the product of resistances in opposite arms of the bridge are equal. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel CBSE 042 so that you get notifications about other videos. You may also like the channel. For feedback, write to ikg54@yahoo.co.in. You may visit our blog physicsbeckons.wordpress.com for more topics. Happy learning. Thanks for watching.